Level 85, far from free. The Alamegan delegate of Ratatan has grim news to convey. If you are ready to lend us your aid, I'll apprise you of the situation. We've received reports of a creature believed to be a blasphemy stalking the streets of Alamigo. Troops have been assigned to track and slay the beast, but there are likely to be casualties. With most of our healers posted elsewhere, we had thought to petition you for aid. I would be glad to help. Sounds like you need better soldiers, not more healers, but if I must, I'll be glad to help. Once again, we're in your debt. We shall inform Commander Aldin forthwith. Our comrades in the Immortal Flames will be glad to have you watching over them. You see, as there have been no sightings of any blasphemies in our lands, we have joined our Alamegan allies in their hunt for the fiend. The trouble is, the majority of our own healers are working day and night to treat the tempered Imperials captured at Paglathon. For that reason, we too will be glad of your help. Your presence alone will be of great comfort to the troops, I'm sure. Time is of the essence. I ask that you make your way to the Alamegan quarter and report for duty. Commander Alden is overseeing the hunt, and he will explain all upon your arrival. May Rauger grant you strength. Mistress Lazathe, we were told you were on your way, but this is even quicker than expected. I'll tell Commander Alden you've arrived. One moment, please. Glad you could join us. Grab on. Now that the far greater crisis has been resolved, we may and must turn our undivided attention to matters of a smaller but no less deadly scale. I'd like nothing more than to hear about your recent adventures, but I'm afraid such pleasantries will have to wait. As our man in Thavnir will have told you, a blasphemy is loose in Alamigo. When it first appeared, the city guard were able to get most of the bystanders to safety, and for a mercy, those caught in the chaos only suffered minor injuries. But the fiend managed to escape and has not been seen since. We must find it, and soon, for as long as it remains at large, every man, woman, and child is at risk. As was the case in Thavnir, the blasphemy's very existence seems to spur the creature of lesser beast. The longer it is allowed to roam free, the more tragedy our people will suffer. Are you certain it's a blasphemy? Did anyone see the change take place? Aye, there were several eyewitnesses who gave the same account. A man walking through the Alamegan quarter fell to his knees all of a sudden, and a moment later transformed into the monstrosity we now pursue. But beyond the fact that he was a young Highlander, we know next to nothing about him. Even the descriptions of his appearance were too vague to help identify the lad, and we've no clues as to his name or background. For all we know, he might not have been even born in Malamigo, might have been the son of refugees come to visit. There are other possibilities we're investigating, though. That said, I doubt his circumstances are unique. Blasphemies and beasts are born when men are overcome by despair, and whatever drove him to turn likely could have done the same to another. Therefore, if we are to prevent future tragedies, it is imperative that we identify and address the underlying cause. Until we do, we'll have no choice but to deal with the afflicted the only way we know how, by granting them a quick death. But now I would have you join the hunt and keep my men from falling prey to these creatures. Are you up to it? You have my thanks. As a chance would have it, we've just received word that a number of beasts were spotted on the outskirts of Alagana. Troops stationed there have already put them down, but were wounded in the process. First and foremost, they need medical attention, and that's where you come in. I'll meet you there. Although the soldiers were able to lead the beast away from the village and cull the lot of them, victory did not come easily. It's times like these that our lack of healers is most sorely felt. I dare say they've yet to receive any treatment at all. See to their wounds while I survey the area for any stragglers that may have escaped. Once I've completed my patrol, I'll head to the village to gather eyewitness reports. Look for me thereafter. Into the soldiers. Gods be good, I feel reborn. Hold on, you're Zilly, aren't you? I can't believe it. You're the one who inspired me to join the resistance in the first place, and now you've come to save me in my hour of need. I'll never forget this. Thank you, thank you. You're welcome, citizen. I saw them change right before my eyes. Those weren't monsters I killed, but innocent men. But it had to be done. There were others we had to protect, and thanks to you, I can continue to do just that. Once I've made my way back, I'll give a full account. The families, they'll understand. For treating the wounds of those soldiers, you have my thanks, and theirs too, no doubt. It seems they were indeed successful in slaying all the beasts, if my search is any indication, but we must remain vigilant. I've also spoken with several people who witnessed the moment of the transformation, though the ordeal has understandably left them rather shaken. I hear you've been through a fair few ordeals yourself, Zilly. Arnvald. Too many Ards. Arnvald. As for me, I've been kept busy with this and that, like getting the hang of this wheelchair. Obviously, it has its limitations, but it gets me where I need to go. Been working with this new organization as well, which is what brought me here, but no sooner had I arrived than those locals turned. Dragonfrid, I heard you were there when it happened. What can you tell us? The ones who underwent the change are the very people we were trying to help. Perhaps I should explain from the beginning. The meeting Lise held in the royal palace marked a turning point for all of Garabanya. It spurred us to open a dialogue with peoples and communities we otherwise would have shunned, but there are still so many problems to be addressed. Countless souls struggling to build new lives for themselves. I decided to form a volunteer group, the Silver Griffins. Our main concern is the welfare of Alamegans who sided with the Empire for whatever reason, and helping them find their place in society, in particular the surviving families of Crania Lupi. I thought you despised the skulls. You've changed your tune. Make no mistake, I've not forgiven them. I don't have that in me, and I doubt I ever will, but the memory of that day in the palace, of Fordola asking to be locked up again after saving us all, it stayed with me. Got me to thinking about why she and the other youths would commit such atrocities, why they'd swear to serve the Empire, and the answer was simple. Because they'd seen what we'd seen and suffered much the same. In a hell where all were condemned, they chose to betray one brother to save another. That's how the Garleans win, not by breaking you, but by making you break yourself. By making that choice the right one for man at the end of his tether. Healing only begins with liberation, and some scars never will, regardless. Those who've returned from foreign lands may have difficulty carving out a living here, but the ones who pledged allegiance to Garlemald. This is not the Alamigo we dreamed of, but after 20 years of misery, I'll not see it all thrown away because we can't come to terms with the past. That's why I formed the Silver Griffins, to see that no one is cast aside. The cause I support, and it's what brought me here today. I've been acting as a mediator. Aye, and in the short time he's been with us, he's proven himself a natural, but despite our early successes, the families of the Skulls continue to refuse our help. I think I see where this is leading. They're the ones who turned, yes? Comes as no surprise, their kin tormented and murdered fellow Alamegans. Anyone with a conscience would feel shame and guilt, and for some it might be too much to bear. I think I might know why they're turning us away. It's a sensitive matter, though, so let's go somewhere we won't be overheard. About one of the men who turned, I saw his memories. With the echo, I'll not pretend I understand it, but tell us what you learned. I only caught a glimpse, but that was enough. It was during the occupation, a man raising his son, only the two of them, but they were a family. To keep his boy clothed and fed, he chose to side with the Empire. He knew what others would say, but he did it anyway. So he was branded a traitor. Every day his son listened to the jeering, the insults, but there was nothing he could do. When he came of age, he joined the Skulls in the hope it would make life easier for his father. He never dared to question his orders, no matter how depraved. He died in the revolution, but not before killing his own countrymen. His father wept not for the betrayer and murdered, but for the man he could have been. He blamed it all on himself, right up until the change took him. I can only pray he and his boy have finally found the peace they were denied in life. Alas, theirs is an all too familiar tale. They cannot forgive themselves, nor can they see how anyone else could. Sins of their kin weigh heavy on them. They think themselves undeserving of our compassion. If they carry on like that, they'll turn into beasts. We've got to help them before it's too late. Growing up half Garlean and Alamigo, I know how it feels to be shunned and hated, to hate myself. But so long as we give ourselves and others a chance, we can change for the better, and while I might not be as clever or eloquent as someone like Alphinaud, I know I can make a difference. I might not be quite the swordsman I used to be, but I'm still a fighter at heart, and I owe it to Abba and Ollie to make the most of this life so long as I've got it. We Silver Griffins will give our all to see that no more beasts or blasphemies ravage Girabanya again. So, Commander Alden, do we have your approval to continue our work? Of course, there's no enemy more formidable than despair, and I'd be a fool to refuse your help. That even a single one of our people has succumbed to this transformation is proof of our failure to protect them. Therefore, I pledge the Silver Griffins my unconditional support. Together we will prevail. Now that we have Zilly on hand to aid the troops, I believe we are ready to face any beast we encounter. Though I fear it is only a matter of time before others appear, I ask that you lend the Silver Griffins your assistance in the meantime. Very good. For now, let's return to the city. Those who harbor guilt do so not because they are weak of heart, but because they have failed to meet the demands they make of themselves. It was the same for me when I believed that my failures had led to the Sultana's assassination. The despair and self-loathing were indescribable. I was fortunate that you and the other Scions came to my rescue, that I had friends who convinced me I was more than the sum of my worst mistakes. And we must do the same for the people of Alamigo. We must help them to heal and find the strength to, if not forgive, then come to terms with who we were, so that we can look to who we can be, who we should aspire to be. This is precisely why the work of the Silver Griffins is so vital. Though our problems are not new, the emergence of this deadly phenomenon means we cannot afford to delay addressing them any longer, and we will be better for it ultimately. Once we've decided a course of action, you'll be the first to know. Until then, may Rauger watch over and keep you. Level 85, far from free, complete. Level 86, the Butcher's Blade. The struggle to prevent the emergence of beasts grows increasingly desperate. We were hoping you'd stop by. I'll show you to Commander Alden at once. You're a welcome sight as always. Aye, and a lot's happened since we last spoke. We Silver Griffins have been keeping busy. As have I and my men, but I'm afraid we've little to show for our efforts. Although we've been searching high and low for the blasphemy, we've seen neither hide nor hair of it. Fortunately, everyone else has had better luck. We've received reports of lesser beasts throughout Garabania, and putting them down is as important as hunting the blasphemy that got away. To complicate matters, rumors have been circulating that these beasts were the Skull's kin. While this was true of the recent incident in Alagana, we cannot have people jumping to conclusions given what they might feel tempted to do. It has been suggested that we take these individuals into custody for their own protection as much as the safety of others, but that would only isolate them even further and give credence to the rumors. Recent unrest has hindered the efforts of the Silver Griffins to no end. Therefore, I ask that you aid them in their endeavors and see if there is aught that can be done. Also, you'll be joined by another volunteer. Try not to be too surprised. I thought I felt my ears burning. Cordola. Said I don't need a keeper, but did they bloody listen? Did they bollocks? Come on, don't be like that. This is what you agreed to. Besides, you never know when you might have need of a healer, and there's none better than Zilu. He's right, you've earned a measure of trust, and this shouldn't be taken to mean otherwise. Thick as thieves, are we now? Then there's no need for this sodding collar, eh? We all know it's not coming off anytime soon, but if this is how it's to be, then fine, so long as she keeps out of my way. I want the two of you to visit the Silver Griffin's headquarters in Alagana. Several relatives of the Carnia Lupi have agreed to meet with them. We could do with a measure of precaution. If anyone so much as mentions the skulls, I'll deal with it. Understood? Let's get this over with. She's as much at risk of turning as anyone, maybe even more so. You don't need the Echo to see the weight she's carrying. She's still not got a handle on her own Echo either. Sometimes the visions come without warning with such force that it's all she can do to stay standing. There's no telling what might happen when she comes face to face with the family of her former comrades, so look out for her, please. I wish there was more I could do for her myself. But we've all got our own duties, and I'll see them through to the end. So must we all. Follow Fordola's lead. We're counting on you both, but be ready to step in, even if she curses you for it. I had a feeling Raubon would send you, silly, but as for her, if you've got any complaints, take it up with the commander. No, it's fine. Truth be told, ever since that day at the Royal Palace, I've been thinking. Stop, you don't want to say it, and I don't want to hear it. For the matter at hand, then, we Silver Griffins have been working to support the relatives of the Carnia Lupi, but one family has gone missing, a mother and her parents, who lived together under the same roof. One of ours paid them a visit, but they were nowhere to be seen, and when they went inside to check, they found the house had been torn to shreds, thick gouges in the floor and the walls, made by beast's claws by the look of them. You think they've turned? Aye, that's the most likely explanation. Please, do what you must before anyone else is hurt. There's no time to waste. I'll head west, you east. Vroom, vroom. In the dirt, you spy an envelope containing a crumpled, tear-stained letter. Read the letter, yes. Dear Mother, I hope this letter finds you well. Time is short, so I must keep this brief. Although I have never done anything to make you proud, I promise you things will be different when the war is over. Until then, take care and know that I love you with all my heart. Placing the letter back into its envelope, you turn your attention to finding the others. Hell beast. I'm one wedding ring. You discover what appears to be a wedding ring with a name and date engraved on the inside. Seemingly no more clues to be found, you decide to report to Ragenfried. What's done is done. Were you able to find anything? And it is as we feared. I found and killed a third. It was carrying this. Matching ring. I'll deliver these effects to their next of kin and arrange for a funeral, or as close to one as possible under the circumstances. No changing the past, we all always carry it, and the scars, but no matter who we were or what we did, we're Alamegans then and now. Empire was our enemy then, and now it's despair. Good words and deeds will serve us best in this fight. Weapons even an old man like me can get wield. Thanks to the two of you, the missing villagers may finally be laid to rest, and the other Silver Griffins will redouble our efforts to prevent any further tragedies. I finished checking the wares, sir. Everything's in order. Good work. Take a rest, lad. You've more than earned it. Keep this to yourselves, but Ephrat's younger brother was a member of the Chronia Lupi. He's exactly the sort of person we're trying to help. Like many of the others, he was reluctant to talk to us at first, but after we'd gained his trust, we were able to help him find work. He's taken to it well. It's her, the butcher! Traitors, all of us, kinslayers deserving of hate and death. Hate and death. Get back, get back! Stay away from her. Cordola saved your girl's life. I know, but she's... Happened in an instant, that poor lad. It had to be done and without hesitation. Would have been much worse otherwise. Could you go after Fordola and see to her wounds? I'll do what I can here. Fine, leave me be. I said I don't need your help. Not only your injuries, I'm worried about... I'm a healer, let me do my job. God, you're like a dog with a bone. Go on then and make it quick. Curl can't change its spots, and there's no washing the blood off my hands, nor would I, even if I could. Taking up Garlean steel was the first choice, but not the last. Like the first kill, the hardest. Every choice after that came easier and easier until I stopped counting, stopped caring. Tell yourself it's right, it's for the greater good. You give the order, feel the ground tremble as the cannon fires, and when the dust settles and your own men are buried beneath the rubble, and you tell yourself, yeah, me too. You mustn't give in. I won't let it take you. Ha, ha. That man in the village, I saw his past. I'm the one who killed his brother. I'll be all right. I just need a moment. Can you wait with me? Everything the Skulls fought for, the sacrifices we made, the things we did, in the end, it was all for nothing. Sometimes I look back on the road I walked and the bitterness I can still taste, and I wonder, if I'd grown up in another time, another place, would I have done the same to a different people? Was it always in me to be me? All I know is everyone would have been better off if I'd never been born. But I was, and I dragged others into the hell of my own making. I remember these two brothers in particular, childhood friends of mine. The older one enlisted with me, but the younger... He would never have made it as a soldier. He was too kind, too good. Ansford died at Specula Imperatoris, but his brother's still out there somewhere. Not that I've got the courage to face him after what I did. I hope he's found the life he deserves. I met a former skull called Rudolph. I know a young man who survived the fall of Specula Imperatoris. Who? Did you get his name? Glad he made it out, but too many others didn't. Too many others still need our help. I helped make this blasphemy, and by Rauger, I'll kill the bastard if it's the last thing I do. Anyway, that's enough out of me. We headed back to the city to make my report. I suggest you do likewise. Welcome back. Fordola's already given her account. I'd like to hear yours, too. So she almost turned into a beast herself. We'll have to take that into consideration before sending her into the field again. As far as the events in Alagana are concerned, the two of you did well. Despite the appearance of several beasts, you were able to prevent any further casualties. However, this serves to confirm that those with connections to the Crania Lupi should be considered at risk of turning. Over the years, many of them have drifted away from the larger settlements and have taken to living in the secret. Others made their way to Ul'dah as refugees, including some individuals of interest. Such will be working closely with the Immortal Flames to locate and offer support to those refugees in particular. In fact, I plan to make the journey there for an audience with the Sultana. Once my preparations are complete, perhaps you might accompany me. I'm sure she'll be glad to see you. Level 86, the Butcher's Blade, complete. Level 87, a new battleground. The quest to protect vulnerable Alamegans leads to Ul'dah. Here to see Commander Alden, I'll take it. This way, please. Our request for an audience with the Sultana has been accepted. Before we depart, I'll share what we've learned since last we spoke. Blasphemy continues to elude us, all the while driving others to succumb to despair and turn. Even with Alamegan and Ul'dah forces searching for signs of the beast and more potential victims, we've yet to discern a pattern in the chaos. Nevertheless, if our blasphemy is like others, its behavior is likely dictated by the passions and regrets of the man it once was. Therefore, any information concerning him and the life he led may help us to track it down before it strikes again. We don't want people to shun the families of the skulls any more than they already are, but the fact remains that the vast majority of the beasts have been born from them. They're the ones at greatest risk of turning, without question. Fordola concerns me too. She came close to transforming once before, so I think it might be best if we keep her out of this after all. Seems like a waste of a capable soldier. She deserves a chance to make amends. I'm inclined to agree with Zilly. She was able to resist the transformation and has shown no signs of succumbing since then. If she wants to do her part, I say we let her. If only I could go in her stead. Actually, I was hoping you'd come with us to meet the Sultana. I believe she would benefit greatly from your understanding of the struggles of our people face. You'd gain from the experience too. While she's not the sort to brandish a sword and charge into battle, you'll soon discover she's a champion of her own arena, as brave as any warrior. I doubt she'd have much to learn from the likes of me, but it would be an honor to make her acquaintance. Ehrenwald and I will go on ahead and wait for you in the Houston Strip. We'll see you anon. Ul'dah. Master Papashan was just telling us that Nanamo, or should I say Lady Lilira, has gone on another of her jaunts about the city. Though it is not my place to question her grace's judgment, I do wish she had consulted me before running off on her own, and perhaps I'm overthinking it, but it's unlike her to keep guests waiting. If I may say so, sir, with blasphemies appearing throughout the land, it's a dangerous time to be going for a stroll. I suspect that may be the very reason she wishes to see for herself how the citizenry fare in these trying times. Even so, it's downright reckless. We'll find her, though. No, I couldn't possibly allow such esteemed guests to. Come now, we might be here on official business, but we're old friends, and as you remember, I have a knack for tracking down errant sultanas. Some might say that knack is a rather charitable. Ahem, I should be glad of the assistance. I'll take a look around here. Quizzing the locals will give me an opportunity to learn of recent going-ons in Ul'dah. Well then, there's no time like the present. Fear not, with me on the case, this will be over before you know it. Okay. Been some time since I last combed these streets for young Lilira. As a matter of fact, Papa Shan and I would compete to see which of us could find her first. As I recall, most of the contest ended in my favor. The trick, you see, is to look past the disguise and pay attention to the gestures and mannerisms, the tiniest movement that might give her away. Come, I'll show you how it's done. Follow Rabon's lead and try not to fall behind. He's fond of perusing the stalls here. If she's not here, where could she be? What if she's been abducted? One of those pots? Perhaps not. I've never known her to be this elusive. That's odd. I tried all her usual haunts, so unless she's hiding inside a barrel or something equally nonsensical, she must be elsewhere. That's why did she choose now of all times to run off? What if she's been abducted or run afoul a beast? There's no need to assume the worst. We should keep looking. Perhaps we could try asking around? I was about to suggest the same. We'll find her a lot quicker if we start by narrowing down who we're going to ask. Come to think of it, something Papa Shan said caught my ear. He thought Nanamo went on this excursion because of the emergence of the blasphemy and the beast, to better understand how her people are coping with the situation. If so, she'd be driven to seek out the most desperate and destitute. Pearl Lane, I think. Might I ask you to lead the way? I'll admit my ability to track missing persons may have dulled somewhat. Pearl Lane has ever been plagued by pickpockets and the like. I'll watch your back, so go ahead and give the search for Lilira your full attention. Rabon is now accompanying you. Keep him at your side in order to proceed with quest objectives. You can leave Rabon behind by entering a different area, by speaking with him and selecting the option to part ways. If you wish to have Rabon join you again, return and speak with him at the original location. Ask about Pearl Lane. While it may not be immediately obvious, conditions here have improved considerably of late. Her Grace continues to support the rebuilding efforts in Garabanya, which has led to the creation of jobs for many of the locals, both here and on the other side of Belsar's wall. The other way. Ask about the poor. In every society, there are the haves and the have-nots, and seldom is this divide more sorely felt than here in Ul'dah. Many of the young and able-bodied work for Lolorito as guards, though he earns more in an afternoon than most will in a lifetime. Lady Lilira. Raubon, whatever are you doing here? Zilly too, while I am glad to see you both, our meeting is not yet due to commence for several bells. What is the meaning of this? We were worried, and with good reason. These are far too dangerous times to be roaming about alone, Your Grace. Some things never change, but I assure you I'm quite capable of looking after myself in my own city of all places. More importantly, I wish to observe firsthand how the people have been faring of late, that I might be better prepared to participate in our discussion later, but I have finished. You will be comforted to hear. Then pray allow us to escort you to more amenable surroundings. Would you care to ride on my shoulder? Certainly not. You have already attracted more than enough attention. Thank you all for making the journey here during these difficult times. It is my pleasure to properly make your acquaintance. On behalf of the people of Eorzea, allow me to express my sincerest gratitude for your continued dedication to our cause. With respect, Your Grace, I'm just a soldier. Was a soldier. Still, I say, Commander Alden would not make such distinction, and neither will I. Yet you yet serve your people and have provided solace to many of Alamigo's most vulnerable. If we are to deal with this threat, we must forearm ourselves with knowledge. I understand you come bearing information regarding the blasphemy and its victims. We have indeed. Hence the need to locate families of Chronia Lupi members who have fled to Thanalin. There's no end to the struggles faced by Alamigan refugees, and those who once pledged allegiance to the Empire are no exception, but rest assured that irrespective of their past, all will be treated with an even hand. All will be afforded such aid as I am able to provide. Magnanimous as always, Your Grace. If I might be so bold, I have a question. What do you have in mind for those most at risk of undergoing the change? I believe there is but one recourse. Earnest and open dialogue. While some are born into unimaginable wealth, others suffer great hardship and oppression. The circumstances of our birth are beyond our control, our fate subject to the whims of the gods, some would argue. I once thought myself a prisoner to my fate, a figurehead, helpless to watch on as my people starved, a powerless puppet. I wanted nothing more than to cast it all aside, to free us all, but failed from my naivety. And then I was afforded a second chance for my privilege. The world is unfair, terribly so, but we have the power to push back against inequalities and injustices, if not overcome them on blessed occasions, to love our neighbor and share in life's bounties, to open our hearts and come together as one. Truer words were never spoken. But without the support of the people, such words are naught but vain platitudes. Thankfully, my recent attempts to make inroads with the Monitorist have met with some success. Despite our differing views on many subjects, we yet strive to find common ground. Common ground. We've been pouring all of our efforts into aiding families of the Chronia Lupi, and while it seemed to help to a degree, some have still succumbed in turn. Of course, they're not the only ones in danger. Alamegans everywhere, whether they sided with the Empire, fought for the Resistance, or were caught in the middle, they all suffered. They all wake up at night times, haunted by memories. Oh, clicked it by accident. We know what can happen if those feelings are left to fester. The legacy of the Imperial occupation will not soon be forgotten, but rather than seek to forget, mayhap it is necessary to remember, to acknowledge and accept the truth of it, that they may properly mourn those that they have lost. Aye, a remembrance. I propose we hold a memorial ceremony for those who died during the war. Everyone, no matter who they were or what they did. Let them be loved, let them be hated, but above all, let them be remembered. And in the remembering of the dead, in their honor and in their sin, we, the living of Alamigo, may yet find a sliver of common ground. It's a noble sentiment, but bringing together people who have reason to distrust one another and risk inflaming tensions could be a recipe for disaster. And again, we can't keep ignoring the merit in the room and do nothing to address the situation. As long as we leave it to the individuals to decide whether or not to attend the ceremony, I think it's worth a try. Organizing an event of this scale will require a great deal of effort, so I offer my full support. Once you know what's needed, come to me and we'll put the plan into action. Obviously, some will balk at the idea, which is perfectly understandable, so I'll be listening to their opinions as well. After all, we want it to be a ceremony that brings Alamegans together. And I was wondering, Your Grace, if I might ask about your approach to, well, talking to people, winning them over. As you can tell, I'm no politician, so I'd be grateful for any advice you can share with me. I would be delighted to. As a matter of fact, I have a number of matters I wish to discuss with you. On that note, I suggest you and I return to Alamigo. Alamigo. I knew Endwalker would make a good impression, but he's outdone himself. Not only has he found a new avenue in life to explore, he's taken to it with considerable aplomb. While his proposed memorial ceremony is bound to have its detractors, I have faith that many will come around. Not all, but enough, I pray. For our part, we must stand at the ready for whatever may occur. I shall send word if there are any developments. Level 87, a new battleground, complete. Level 88, laying the past to rest. Endwalker wishes to put your considerable reputation to good use. Here you are. Commander Alden has asked me to convey to you the following information. At present, we are looking into reports of missing relatives of the Crania Lupi with the cooperation of the Silver Griffins. We're currently searching for any clues as to the whereabouts. Thanks to the concerted efforts of Ragenfried and the others, the general public has been willing to cooperate with our investigation. Though many still harbor feelings of distrust for the collaborators and their kin, they've grown more receptive to our cause on the whole. Endwalker's been making steady progress in preparing for the memorial ceremony. He plans to host a meeting between the various community leaders to go over finer details. In fact, he was wondering whether you could assist in delivering the invitations. If you can spare the time, you should be able to find him in the Mercantile District. Anyway, that's all for now. I have a few other matters to attend to, so if you'll excuse me, duty calls. Thanks for coming. It should come as no surprise that planning a memorial ceremony for a whole bloody nation would keep a man busy, but by Rauker, this is something else. Hardest part's been gathering information on those who died in the war, especially when it comes to the skulls and other conscripts, and they're the ones we need to treat most carefully. If we don't acknowledge the crimes of our kin and all their painful truth, then we do a disservice to their victims, living and dead. But if we let people paint them as monsters who did monstrous things, things we believe we would never do, then we perpetuate a different but no less dangerous lie. As for preparing the event itself, I'll be holding a meeting with members from each of the settlements around Garabanya. I've sent invitations to most of them already, but I was hoping you'd help me with the last two. There's Mraz Nun and the Peering Stones, and Sarisha and Viranilia. I'll give you one for each. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if they refused, considering how their people suffered at the hands of the Skulls, but I hope we can remind them that deep down we're all just people trying to survive, to protect our loved ones. We may have driven the Empire from our lands, but as long as we hold fast to the grudges born of their attempts to divide and set us against one another, we'll never be free of their legacy of cruelty. With that in mind, I've included an account of my experiences with the Silver Griffins and the people I've met, victims, collaborators, their friends, and their family, men and women who lived through it all, survivors. Even if they refuse to join the ceremony, at least they will know and hopefully understand our reasons for holding the event. Granted, I've not had much practice in writing important letters, but I think they'll get the message. You being one to deliver them will make the world a difference. I'm sure. Take care, won't you? Okay. Hearing sounds. Greetings, friend. It has been too long since last we spoke. What brings you to my village? So the rumors are true. I need not read this letter in full to know its contents. I understand that Ragnfrid's volunteers are working to support the families of those lost in the war, which few will deny is a worthy cause, but to include the relatives of the Crania Lupi. The Skulls watched the Empire slay us in our thousands, and still they turned their cloaks and fought for our oppressors, and you would ask us to mourn the deaths of these curs alongside their victims? Ask only that you read the rest of the letter. You have every right to be angry and to refuse. Ehrenwald wishes only that you read his account before coming to a decision. To dismiss it out of hand would be discourteous. Very well. Family. As Noon, my tribe is my family, and I know all too well the responsibility that brings. I would do anything to protect them. Anything. Loyalty, pride, conscience, my very soul, all are meaningless if I cannot ensure the safety of those I love. I suspected some Skulls had been faced with the self-same choice, but to see how their kin suffered, I cannot say I do not understand. I wish I did not. Their crimes will never be forgiven. They cannot be, but I and any others who are willing can offer our prayers for these tortured souls and the men they could have been. I accept the invitation, not on behalf of the M tribe, but as Imraz Nun, though I will put the question to my people that they may decide for themselves. I am also eager to make the acquaintance of the person who wrote this letter. He is not wont to turn a blind eye to the bitter truth, painful though it is to confront. The meeting will be the perfect opportunity to take his measure. Arisha. Welcome. To what do we owe the pleasure of your visit? And it is as I suspected. There have been rumors that such a ceremony would take place. Although you have traveled far to make this invitation, I must decline. We cannot mourn the loss of the fallen at the Crania Lupi or to be counted among them. Like the Kalyana, they chose to aid the Garlean oppressors, killing and bleeding for those who would pillage our lands, cowards and traitors all. And are we to assume that Kalyana, who died fighting for the Empire, will be honored as well? If so, that is all the more reason for us to refuse. That is your right, and no one will say otherwise. I come only to present a letter and ask that you read it in full. Ehrenwald understands and accepts that you might refuse. His only request that you read his account and then decide. If you insist. No one was spared suffering in the occupation. Not the resistance, not the collaborators, not the families of both. No one. That so many would die in shame and ignominy. Having sold their souls only to lose everything is a tragedy and a lesson. If they are forgotten, then the lesson of their folly is forgotten. For the sake of this, land that we call home, I will join you in remembrance and implore my people to do the same. In mourning, may we strengthen our ties with our neighbors as well. By together facing our past, we can build a foundation for lasting peace and prosperity. It would be my honor to attend the proposed meeting, and I look forward to personally thanking your friend Aaronwald for his dedication. I and my peers have much to learn from the example he has set. Oh, he's right here. Where the hell am I going? So, how did you fare in the fringes? They said that about me? It's rare for me to get such glowing praise, especially from renowned leaders like Sarisha and Raznoon. More importantly, though, they agreed to attend the meeting, and I've got to thank you for that. After all, I imagine it's hard to turn down an invitation when it's hand-delivered by the warrior of light herself. Before I get ahead of myself, though, I must remember that this is only the beginning. Bringing everyone together is one thing. Coming to an agreement on an extremely divisive issue is a different kettle of fish entirely, as Her Grace was quick to point out. But as she's taught me, if our cause is just and our hearts are true, those of like mind will surely answer the call. And answer it they have. While there are bound to be differences of opinion, I'm sure there's nothing we can't overcome if we put our minds to it. To that end, I was hoping you could join us if you've the time to spare. There are still a few loose ends Ragnfred and I need to tie up beforehand, so we'll meet you in the palace as soon as we can. Just having you there will make a world of difference. Here for the meeting, yes? To the Royal Palace, yes. So while we all agree upon the importance of the ceremony, we recognize that the inclusion of the Crania Lupi will be distressing for many. I too lost family at their hands, and I would never ask others to forgive and forget. But for all their crimes, they were Alamegans, just like us. None made the decision to side with Garlemald lightly. They had a choice, and they chose to betray us. Who among us have not made difficult choices for kith and kin? And do not forget that Fordola chose to stand between us and a primal. What does that have to do with it? Brothers and sisters, arguing will avail us naught. The fate of Alamigo rests on my shoulders and yours, on those of every man, woman, and child that calls these lands home. To uphold our honor, to strive for prosperity, to protect our loved ones. We all know the weight of these responsibilities. 'Twas that self-same weight which drove many of our people to serve our oppressors, misguided as it was. And though they chose a different, unconscionable path, in the end we all wanted the same thing, to deliver our families from persecution, that they might live to see one more day, because another day in shame and self-hatred was still better than none at all. The regretful dead are survived by their despair, despair which threatens to drag us all into the abyss from where there is no escape. Know that surely it will if we welcome it into our hearts out of disdain for those we cannot forgive. But we Alamegans will not be so easily defeated. We will stand united and conquer this menace. Every Alamegan who fought and died did so in the hopes that one day we would be free. We are free. We are free. By the blood of our fallen brothers and sisters, we are free. Free to lock away the pain and pretend it has no power over us until it festers and takes us in our beds. Free to lay it bare and let it breathe, to acknowledge and to mourn our people at their best and their worst. The past is ours to bear, all of it, for ourselves and for future generations, so that they needn't suffer like we did. Let us make Alamigo a nation where no man is left behind, where he can make all the wrong choices and still be afforded the chance to make a right one. That went better than any of us could have hoped for. You have my gratitude for your part in the proceedings, when we both know who the real hero of the day was. This was all Ehrenwald's idea, and it was his words that finally won over the naysayers. Now that we have the community leaders on our side, we should have a much easier time convincing the rest of the citizenry. Of course, holding the ceremony is by no means our final objective. No matter what we say, some will refuse to attend. It is my hope, however, that it will still serve to provide a measure of closure for us all and to ease the plight of the vulnerable and ostracized. Speaking of which, you will recall the incident with Fordola and Alagana, the young girl she saved, and her mother wished to thank her personally. Considering what happened last time, though, I have reservations. It would be a valuable opportunity to present a former skull in a more positive light. On the other hand, I don't need to tell you how unpredictable she can be. That's before taking her echo into consideration. That's a conversation for another day. Go and get some rest. You've earned it. Level 88, laying the past to rest. Complete. Level 89, Trail of Skulls. The blasphemy hunter may seem calm and collected from a distance, but you suspect something is amiss. Something terrible has happened. Fordola, she's escaped. She was accompanying a squadron out on a training exercise. One moment she was there, and the next she was gone. I didn't think much of it at the time, but she's been acting strangely ever since she went to meet that mother and child. You know, the ones who wanted to thank her for saving the girl's life? When I told Commander Alden about it, he went charging off to Alagana to ask them if they have any idea where Fordola might be. Thought about going after him, but when I heard you were headed this way, I reckon I'd be better to send you in my stead. Godspeed. I wasn't expecting to see you here. You've heard what's happened then? Just as Fordola was beginning to earn our trust, she's given us the slip. As you may know, she wears a choker enchanted to prevent exactly that. If I were to give the order, she would be dead within moments, and she knows that. She took the risk anyway, so I have to believe she has a good reason. That's what we're looking into now. We were hoping Clarel and young Lily here could shed some light on the matter. We'd like to ask you about your conversation with Fordola, if we may. Yes, of course. I know she's the butcher, or was at least, but it didn't seem right to go without thanking her. That's why I requested the meeting, to express my gratitude and my apologies. She was quiet at first, just stood there as we spoke, as if she weren't even listening, and then I mentioned the blasphemy, and she looked at Lily, and all of a sudden clutched her own head and cried out in agony. You got an echo. Echo. Can you remember what you were thinking about at the time? A man, the one I saw in the city. What? Who? Did he have something to do with all those people panicking? I think he did. When I was waiting for you, I saw him. He was by himself. He looked poorly, so I asked if he was all right. He said yes. He had a nice smile. He got up and started walking, but then... He was shouting and screaming. I was so frightened I didn't want to talk about it, not even to Mum. I wish you'd said something sooner. I'm sorry, Poppet. This is my fault for leaving you on your own. The man who turned into a blasphemy, I'd wager. The girl saw him, which means Fordola has now seen him too. There was one other thing. When Fordola was having her funny turn, she said something. Charlie? No. Charlotte? I think. Yes, that was it. Ring any bells? Can't say it does, but if he has anything to do with the skulls, the Silver Griffin should have some information on him. We'd best have a word with Ragnfrid, then. You've both been very helpful. I'd also like to thank you for being so kind to Fordola. She may not have said it, but I'm sure it meant a lot to her. I have a couple more things I'd like to ask, so I'll catch up with you later. Charlotte, you say? Yes, that name came up during our recent investigations. As I recall, he served under the Viceroy during the occupation, and his whereabouts is currently unknown. He had an older brother named Ansfrid, one of the Cranialupi, which would give him a connection to Fordola. Is there anyone who can tell us more about him? Yes, an uncle who we recently helped find employment here in Alagana. He's actually one who asked us to look for Charlotte. You'll most likely find him working at the Sleeping Stones. As it happens, I was planning to bring him something to eat. I'll join you there shortly. Perhaps we should have asked what he looks like. Still looking, eh? That's him over there. I hope we're not interrupting. No, no, of course not. It's good to see you, Ragnfrid. My word, the Bull of Alamigo and the champion of the Alliance. What brings such esteemed guests to our humble quarry? At ease, my good fellow. We merely wish to ask you about your nephew. Charlotte, you found him? No luck yet, then. Is there anything else you can tell us? More about his childhood, perhaps? Wasn't much of one, I'm afraid. Poor boy's life was ruined long before he had any say in the matter. His parents and I swore allegiance to Garlemald to secure ourselves and our kin citizenship, for all the good it did us here, living amongst our countrymen who treated us as pariahs. Took its toll on him and his brother to be spat on as traitors by association. One thing led to another, and Ansfrid, together with most of his friends, joined the Imperial Army. That's how it started, you know, the Crania Lupi, Gaius's loyal little pups. Do you remember the names of these friends? Yes, they had quite the reputation growing up. There was Emmeline, Rudolph, and the angry little girl who grew up to become the butcher herself, Fordola. Well, that was part of their group, too, yes, but from what we've heard, he chose not to become a soldier. Wouldn't have lasted a day in training. He knew that better than anyone, of course. Not that it helped him to feel any less guilty for turning his back on the others. He blamed himself for their deaths, for not stopping them when he had the chance, for not being strong enough to fight by their side. Maybe save them, maybe not. But he wasn't there and he wished he had been. Then one day he was gone. Wherever he is, I hope he's safe and well. So do we. Thank you. The information you've shared should prove useful. And for you, I brought some food. Why don't you call it a day and go and enjoy it with your family? Let him have the peace for now. Back to Alagana. So not only was his brother a member of the Skulls, but Charlotte himself was a childhood friend of Fordola's. Told he refuses support of the Silver Griffins as well. He's been trying to make his own way for some time now. His brother and his friends died at Specula Imperial Taurus, save for Fordola, and the gods only know how he felt about her after that. Or how Fordola felt about Charlotte after seeing Lily's memory of him, transforming into a blasphemy. Brother of a man she killed and a childhood friend besides. She thinks she's responsible for this. That's why she ran, to kill the beast. I never thought I'd say this, but I'm worried about her. Fordola is a survivor and an outcast herself, exactly the sort of person the Silver Griffins are trying to support. You've seen for yourself the sacrifices she's willing to make, and if you can learn to feel sympathy for her, maybe others can too. I think we have enough information for the time being. Let's return to the city and plan our next move. I've assigned a few of my soldiers to assist the Silver Griffins in investigating Charlotte's background. With luck, we will find him quickly, and then we can prepare for what must come after. We're all but certain Charlotte's the one who transformed into a blasphemy, and so there's naught to be done but put him out of his misery. As for Fordola, I put Monago and her troops in charge of tracking her. Once they've found her, they have my permission to lend whatever support they deem necessary. If it comes to it, I may ask you to join the search. Until such time, I ask that you take this opportunity to rest. Level 89, Trail of Skulls, complete. Level 90, the Gift of Mercy. The Blasphemy Hunter is even more flustered than usual, and with good reason. Thank goodness you're here. Commander Alden needs to see you right away. Follow me. Keep it contained until I arrive, but do not engage if you can help it. Understood? That was Monago. Our unit has found Fordola, or rather, she has found them. In fact, I have Fordola on the search party's link pearl. She wants a word with you. This is urgent, so be quiet and listen. The blasphemy, my friend, is right in front of us. Tracked him down, and when he spotted me, he started heading towards Specula Imperatoris. Look, I need your help. Charlette's not. He never wanted to hurt anyone, but this thing he's become is. I can't leave him like this. Got to stop him, whatever it takes. I'm on my way. Wait till we get there. Do not engage. Is that clear? Say I'm on my way. I owe you. Monago, can you hear me? We've got the blasphemy surround. It's on the move. Get ahead of it, but maintain distance. We need to. Fordola, what are you doing? Fordola, Fordola. There's no time to waste. They need our help. Radiata and Alighieri are not that far from Specula Imperatorus. If we let the blasphemy slip through our fingers, it doesn't bear thinking about. While Fordola is determined to slay it by her own hand, we can't allow her recklessness to put the lives of others in jeopardy. Time has come for action. Are you ready? Duty calls. Commence battle for the Gift of Mercy. If you are above the maximum allowed level, will be synced as follows. Level 90, item level 550. Proceed. Oh, look how cute. Hold the line for as long as you can. Commander Alden and the Warrior of Light will be here any moment. Stay strong. It's just like, kick it. You've done well. Leave the rest to us. Yes, sir. Get the injured to safety. Coward. Coward. Traitor. To them. To everyone. I wish there was another way. So do I, but fighting's the only thing I'm any good at. Makes me wonder how I ended up with such a clever brother. Too clever for my own good, maybe. Just the thought of going into battle, about getting hurt, about having to hurt other people. He's a bleeding heart, our Charlotte. Sooner befriend a fly than shoo it away, much less kill it. I could kill if I wanted, I could. But you don't, and there's no shame in that. Leave the soldier into us, Charlotte. We'll show the Garleans what we're capable of, get the power and respect we deserve, and then things will change. They will, you'll see. We found a place for ourselves, and you'll find yours soon enough. All right, that'll do. Everyone who's enlisting, meet me back here tomorrow. In the end, what good did I do? They gave everything they had to give while I hid, like a rat waiting for the storm to pass. Coward, coward, coward. Whoa. Coward, coward. Better dead, better forgotten. Not your fault, Charlotte, it's not. You didn't do anything wrong, and I'm the coward, the traitor, the butcher. I'll always be the butcher. Don't you dare, Fordola. You don't get to end it. You don't get to give up. I won't let you. You have a lifetime to make amends and atone, to become something more than you were. But if you die here, you are everything they say, everything you believe. Is that what you want? She's not going anywhere. Arnvald, why are you here? There's nowhere else I'd rather be. Can't fight by your side, but I can still cheer you on. I've seen your past, Charlotte, how you were left behind while your friends rushed into battle. Bloody hard, isn't it? Wanting to do something so desperately with every fiber of your being, knowing that you should be able to, you should, but you can't. You find another way to support them, your way. You did that too, didn't you? You were there for them, even if it didn't feel like it, but you were, Charlotte, you were. As a friend of mine once said, not all heroes are forged in the fires of battle. History of Alamigo is written blood. While we cannot change the past, we can change the future. And for that, we must all play our part, all of us. Let us grant Charlotte the peace he deserves. You too, Fordola. Hansfred, Emmeline, one day we'll be together again, but not yet. Never hurt anyone, Charlotte. That's not who you are. You'll be remembered as the kind soul you always were. Blasphemy, Charlotte. I'm counting on you.
As one!
How are we supposed to... Can't really see, like... Can't, like, see any of their stuff. I gotta get in this. Go together. Oh no! I got hit. Don't really know how to play Sage.
Show them what we're made of!
Not close enough. Oh no.
Tizona!
Try this!
Nice. Okay, well, we got through it. Echo. Thank you. I mean it. I've been looking everywhere for you. Have you now? We put down the last remaining beast spawned by the blasphemy. 'Tis a pity we could do naught for those who've turned, but that we were able to prevent further casualties is nothing short of a miracle. Astonishing, too, looking back at Charlotte's case. Although his existence spurred others to transform, he never attacked any settlements or travelers. Even when he underwent change in the middle of the crowded street, those who were present escaped with minor injuries at worst. I think that deep down his compassion is what kept the raging blasphemy at bay. The only time he emerged from hiding was to journey to the place where his brother died. It's clear he still retained some semblance of his former self. Another victim of the Empire's terrible legacy, along with his friends and so many others. But the Chronia Lupi wasn't the creation of the Imperials alone. Many of those youths sought a place with them because they were denied one with us. That's why the memorial ceremony is so important. It's our chance to face our past together, to give them in death what we couldn't in life, to not deny anyone a place in memory, even if it hurts or makes us feel ashamed. You'll be attending, won't you? I haven't been ordered to, so I suppose not. In light of your leal of service to Alamigo, I intend to have the conditions by which you are bound eased. Providing I'm able to obtain approval, you will be granted a degree of freedom. At the very least, we should soon have no need for that choker. There'll be no objections from me. You've done well. Huh. If I didn't know better, I'd think you were smiling. Well, I, for one, couldn't be happier our efforts are being recognized. It gives me that much more motivation to continue my work with the Silver Griffins and bring the people of Alamigo closer together. Got to do my best to keep up with a certain little lordling, eh? I think we've done enough for one day. Time we get some rest. Allow me, as both the Guardian of Alamigo and as your sworn comrade, to express my thanks for coming to our aid in these desperate times. No matter what manner of disaster may befall us, your presence alone is enough to keep the flame of hope burning bright. Even someone on the very precipice of despair, such as Fordola, can find salvation in your guiding light. Laying it on a bit thick, aren't you? Heavens forbid people would stop throwing themselves in harm's way at every opportunity. You're something of an immortal flame yourself. Been waiting for a chance to use that one, haven't you? I like to think I can still pull my weight on and off the battlefield, but that might be a bit generous. In any case, it's safe to say we've all benefited enormously from your sterling work here. We couldn't ask for a better healer or a better friend. Our ambassador in Razatan will be relieved to learn of our success here. If you happen to cross paths, give him my regards, would you? Greetings, how goes it in Alamigo? Eliminating blasphemies, helping organize a memorial ceremony, they've certainly kept you busy. Fine example of going above and beyond the call of duty. I'll be sure to send word of your exploits to Ul'dah. Wait till the Sultana hears about this. Her Grace will not be the only one to welcome this news. On behalf of the Grand Company of Eorzea and our allies, allow me to express my most heartfelt gratitude. Level 90, the Gift of Mercy, complete. You can now dye the job-specific gear for level 90 healers. Achievement unlocked, More Than Guilt.